What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on Yahoo with a 12-team half PPR mock where we will be selecting first overall, so it should be really interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comments section. You agree, disagree with these picks, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. The draft is about to kick off. We've got the first pick, and I'm not going to waste anyone's time. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey. If I have the first pick overall, pretty much regardless of the format, I am taking McCaffrey 10 times out of 10. I've seen some, situations where like maybe CD or Tyreek might be the first overall pick. Nah, I'm sticking with my boy Christian McCaffrey. When he's healthy, he is the best fantasy football player available at the most important position in fantasy football, the running back position. That's right, boys and girls, I'm still a running back truther. And speaking of those running backs, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, two other guys that I still really, really like. And let's pull up the draft board here so we can kind of keep pace with it because it's going to be a while until we draft again, right? We've got the first pick overall. We're literally at the extreme of waiting. So breaking down these picks is what we're going to do until we make another selection. So we had CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill immediately after our pick of McCaffrey. Then the two running backs, Bijan and Breece Hall, in that order. If you want to switch it up and have Breece, then Bijan, go right ahead. I've got zero issues with that. And then they're running those next group of wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and then Garrett Wilson. Now I anticipate we're going to see those next three running backs go in Jonathan Taylor, Barkley, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Not necessarily in that order, but something of that nature. And then, there is a fall off afterwards, I would say. After that run on wide receivers, we see Jonathan Taylor at the 111. Makes sense. Puka Nacua at the 112. Marvin Harrison at the 2-1. Way too early for Marvin Harrison, in my humble opinion. Feel free to tell me why I'm so wrong in the comments section, though. And then probably the worst pick in this entire freaking draft. We just made a breakdown of should you draft a quarterback early this year. And, my thought process is hell no. At least if you're going to draft a tier 1 quarterback, don't be the first one to pull the trigger on them because you're only going to burn yourself. And typically the ADPs for these first round for these top tier quarterbacks is at the end of the second, early third. And that's why I just said we had the worst pick in this entire draft because Josh Allen went with the second pick in the second round. Then Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kyren Williams, a huge run on running backs, as one might expect. Now, I don't really have too many qualms with any of these running backs selected. I've said before that Derrick Henry does scare me being on, a new team where he's got to contend with Lamar Jackson, age, all those things, touchdown dependency, not being a pass catcher. But we'll see. We'll see if, Derrick Henry can stand the test of time. Then Kyren Williams, Chris Olave, Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, and it's two more selections, or two more picks until we get to make another selection. So let's see what's left. Devontae Adams is still there. And as soon as I say that, he gets drafted. Brendan Ayuk, Drake London are the next two names. Travis Etienne, I think at this point in time, would be a decent selection, right? Like Etienne, I'm not the biggest A-chain believer, but we just got sniped. We got sniped so bad. I was hoping Drake London would be there for us. He is not, though. So, what to do? Hell, Travis Etienne is going to be our first pick. I don't love any of these next group of wide receivers. I could see Ayuk moving. I could see Evans, touchdown regression, more so a standard guy. Debo, same with Ayuk. Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. Do we just punt it and go running back heavy? McCaffrey, Etienne, and Rashad White? Let's do it. Let's see what happens here. This is going to be a build and a half for this roster. McCaffrey, ETN, Rashad White. We've got all the PPR boys on this squad. So this will be really, really interesting. I think that, wide receiver wise, hey, we'll find out if there really is good value for wide receivers in the middle group of rounds, because we're going to need it. I'm looking at these group of dudes, and, I probably Cooper Kupp would have been my selection. Michael Pittman would have also been in discussion, but let's see. Let's see how this pans out, and maybe one of those guys falls to us. I doubt it, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. But we went 3 straight running backs: McCaffrey, ETN, Rashad White. Then Travis Kelce, Brendan Ayuk. And I do think here we're going to see that group of wide receivers that I mentioned. Also, please take note, it's been about, it's been more than 12 picks, so it's been more than a full round. And Josh Allen is still the only quarterback that has been drafted. So yet again, what I said about tier 1 quarterbacks, just don't be the first one to select them, will hold true, because you're going to get better value. And I bet you, or at least it'll be very close, at pick 311, because that would be the 3rd round pick of the person that selected Josh Allen at the 2nd pick of the 2nd round, there might be a combo of Jalen Hurts and or Patrick Mahomes still available, or they would have just gotten drafted, something like that. I think that will be the scenario, but let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. So right now in the 3rd round, after we went Rashad White, you see Kelce, Brendan Ayuk, Mike Evans, A-Chain, another brave running back believer here. Hall, Pacheco, A-Chain, then Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp won't make it back to us. Jalen Waddle, Josh Jacobs. I was thinking about Waddle, Cooper Kupp, to be transparent, but I thought, hey, let's put ourselves behind the 8 ball and see what we can do here. DJ Moore just got picked. So, yeah, I'm going to end up being right. One of Jalen Hurts and or Patrick Mahomes will still be available at the end of the 3rd round. Actually, both of them are. So that's what we call reaching unnecessarily. And I said it right as it happened. That's way too early for a quarterback. So yeah, I that's just a bad pick. Let's call it how we see it. Sam Laporta, Debo, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. I was wondering when Alvin Kamara might get picked. Now here, let's look at the top players available. All the players. I anticipate Michael Pittman will be off the board soon. Then, DK Metcalf just went. Running backs. Yeah, James Cook just went. I was debating, I was just curious when James Cook might go. So Joe Mixon is the next kind of group of more confident running backs on this list, in my opinion, that you might draft. Wide receivers. Ooh, there goes Trey McBride. Interesting. 3rd tight end drafted. Wide receivers right now, not guys that I necessarily love, I'll tell you that much. Lamar Jackson, the 2nd quarterback selected ahead of Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. I don't like that pick. I think that Lamar is a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. A little bit too dependent on using his legs on the rushing yards. Sure, there's going to be games where he has success through the air, but I think that is a little bit more kind of, here and there than you would like. So I'd have Hurts and Patrick Mahomes ahead of him. And speaking of both those guys, they just went all 3 back to back to back. Lamar, Jalen, Patrick Mahomes, pretty much 2.5 rounds after Josh Allen. So those are your much better values here, folks. Now, the way I see it, Amari Cooper just went. There's a name that I want, a wide receiver. I bet you would get sniped. It is, I might as well say it. It's Michael Pittman. I think he's by far and away the best value at this point in time. But, we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be mad at Christian Kirk, T. Higgins type of combo maybe. George Pickens, if you're a believer, which I am. But right now, oh, this is going to go on auto pick and select Mike Pittman, isn't it? Ooh, no, okay. Anthony Richardson, a Colt, but not the Colt that I was thinking of. So Anthony Richardson. Now, also the fact that CJ Stroud is getting drafted after Anthony Richardson is wild to me, but that will be the case here. So right now, Stephon Diggs is a big name, right? But I think he could potentially be the number 3 guy in Houston. I'm taking Michael Pittman here without any hesitation. And then the question is, who's going to be our second wide receiver that we draft? So I'm taking Michael Pittman. That's easy. And then for our second wide receiver, probably I'm willing to take a chance on Malik Neighbors. I'm a believer. I think this is much better value than Marvin Harrison, right? T. Higgins also not bad, but let's see what happens. Malik Neighbors at the start of the 5th round. So yeah, we went back-to-back wide receivers. We did not select tight end or quarterback. Quarterback, I only would have considered if CJ Stroud was there. He was not. Tight end, Mark Andrews. I'm not the biggest Mark Andrews fan personally. I just don't want my number 1 tight end being propped up by a run-first quarterback. After the one season, 2 years ago, where Mark Andrews was the number 1 tight end, there's been injuries to him, to Lamar, and it's just inconsistencies. And you've got other weapons there now either way, right? If you're a big Zay Flowers believer. So tight end, I doubt he makes it back to us, but Dalton Kincaid would be nice. Let's pull up the draft results, though, right? That's what everyone wants to see, the draft board. After we went Neighbors, Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, Mark Andrews. And now I think it's going to be a while until we see the next group of tight ends. Maybe Kincaid will be the exception. But the way I see it is I think we're going to see all these wide receivers here go. Like, the Diggs, Devonta, Tank Dell, T. Higgins, Zay, Terry, Pickens, Christian Kirk. I think it's going to be those guys here. So let's see if I'm right or wrong. Christian Kirk, I could have also selected him. I just thought there might be a better chance he falls to us. Trying to kind of play that game a little bit. But either way, I think the combo we came away with Pittman and Neighbors isn't too shabby, right? So I like what we have going on right now. We're set at running back. And if we can get another group of wide receivers that I like and get a tight end that I had mentioned, then I think this thing is going to turn out pretty good. Ooh, there goes George Pickens. There goes Stephon Diggs. So Pickens ain't going to make it back to us. That's all right. Pulling up the draft results almost at the end of the 5th round. Let's scroll down here a little bit. We got really lucky that we got Michael Pittman at the end of the 4th round. Just FYI. Pretty good value there. I think, there goes James Conner, running back. But I said, again, since we got 3 running backs in McCaffrey, Etienne, Rashad White, we're not really looking at any more running backs, I would say. Joe Burrow just went after James Conner. 2 more picks here. George Kittle. Ooh, George Kittle ahead of Dalton Kincaid. That's interesting. It's not the way I would have played it, but, okay. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to get scooped up by somebody on auto pick here in a little bit. Would be my guess. T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts ahead of Dalton Kincaid. Interesting yet again. I was hoping if Dalton Kincaid didn't go, that Kyle Pitts would at least fall to us, but that's not going to be the case. I still wouldn't be mad at Evan Ingram, I'll tell you that much. Dalton Kincaid or Evan Ingram, both would be solid consolation prices. So Najee Harris just went. Let's see if Najee Harris went ahead of any running backs. I think you got to draft Zamir White ahead of Najee. Hell, even Raheem Mostert. We know Harris is in a committee, right? Like, we know that much. So, yeah. Kyler Murray, Keenan Allen, Tank Dell. So, we could have, unless the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks are all, big-time snipers, there's a chance we might get a group of guys that we like. DeAndre Swift just went. So this is right now in this 6th round, kind of breaking our way, but oh shoot, we got 3 auto picks here. No, it's gonna dry up pretty quick. This guy's going Dalton Kincaid for sure. He doesn't have a tight end. Auto pick is going to, I mean, you see here our suggestions. So, well, actually, that's team based, but it's still probably going to be Dalton Kincaid here. And then there's 2 more auto picks right here before us. It was Amir White actually went. Okay, interesting. There goes Christian Kirk. We're not going to be able to get Kirk. It was really he would have been at the top of my board, Christian Kirk, because we need another wide receiver to get some more depth there. Damn. Okay, so let's refocus on the wide receivers. Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, probably the next 2 top guys. I prefer Terry McLaurin personally. That's just me. Raheem. Oh, come on. Dalton Kincaid just got picked. Damn auto pick. And if this is, I swear, if this is Evan Ingram, I'm going to cry. But no, it won't. It actually won't because this person has Travis Kelce. So, hey, at least we'll get one of the tight ends we were looking at. I would have preferred Dalton Kincaid. I think he's got the higher ceiling. But, I can't be too mad here. So we are going to go, one of our picks is going to be Evan Ingram. And then Zay Flowers just went. Okay, I'm going Terry McLaurin. Probably with that being said, yeah, let's go Evan Ingram. I know we've got Travis Etienne, but that's why I wanted Dalton Kincaid, because we already have Etienne. And then if Christian Kirk was our guy, it's like it's not as bad because he's going on our bench. He's not necessarily having to be a starter for us. So here I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin, wide receiver. And then, the bulk of our roster is complete. Pittman, Neighbors, McCaffrey, Etienne, Ingram, Rashad White, Terry McLaurin. If we had gotten Dalton Kincaid, I would have felt much better about this squad. But unfortunately, we're pretty dependent on the Jags offense. I mean, again, it could be worse, right? Because the second position is a tight end. You can, I guess, stream it or get a second backup tight end. But either way, would have been a lot better if it was Kincaid, in my personal opinion. Let's pull up the draft board. I think we can make like one more selection or a pair of selections if this thing speeds up. I don't want it to go too long. But quarterback-wise, unless there's a run, there will be a run. What am I saying? Quarterbacks, Dak would be at the top of my board right now. Who else? You guys know I love me some Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Tua, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. I mean, I think they're all kind of in that like tier 4, tier 5 range. Yeah, I'm going to bank on Aaron Rodgers having 1 or 2 more years of service left with a really good offense surrounding him and kind of bank off that. So going back to our draft results, Jalen Warren, a full round later after Najee Harris. Interesting considering he could be the starter for them. Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Jake Ferguson. That next kind of best tight end, Jaden Reed, David Njoku. Sped up a little bit. Dak Prescott. Yeah, there goes Dak. I knew he wasn't going to get back to us. Can we do any interesting stacks for this team? I mean, I guess Jaden Daniels with Terry or Brock Purdy with Christian McCaffrey. I know Purdy had kind of a breakout season last. Well, he did for fantasy, right? Basically a top 5, or was he 5th overall or 6th overall for? I think it was right at 6. He was either 5 or 6 for the top fantasy quarterbacks, and obviously breakout season. But if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I'm still an Aaron Rodgers believer. After Dak, Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, Tony Pollard, Deontay, Jordan Love, Christian Watson, and yeah, let's just wait it out here. Rashee Rice might not be a bad pick at this point in time. I think that after the suspension, you could argue he's the number 1 wide receiver for Kansas City. If there is a suspension, let me actually rephrase that. Is Jonathan Brooks still available at running back? At this point, he'd be a really good value. Yeah, he is. He's ranked way too low for Yahoo. So even though, I think that he's more of a Yeah. He's more of a late season guy, but I'm going to draft him here to bring some attention to him. And then I'm going to draft a quarterback just so that our roster is kind of filled out. Or I'll just queue up a quarterback. Let's do that. And I'll draft Rashee Rice to kind of practice some better draft habits. So let's do that. I also like Lad McConkey for what that's worth. But again, most people have gone on auto pick, so I think we've gone long enough. I like the setup of this roster, the core of it. Let me know your thoughts, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.